There's a voice inside many young Muslims today that's hard to admit. It says, "You say you believe, but do you really? If Allah is real, why can't you feel Him?" This voice doesn't come from an atheist outside. It comes from within, the part of us that is uncertain, conflicted, searching. We call it the atheist within. But what if this voice is not a betrayal of faith, but a divine signal that your soul is trying to grow? Allah created us with the power of thought, reflection, and questioning, and with that comes the possibility of doubt. Indeed, we created man from a drop of fluid, putting him to the test, and we gave him hearing and sight. Surah Al-Insan, Surah 76, verse 2. Notice, you were designed with faculties for awareness, but also for trial. So when doubt arises, it's not always misguidance. Sometimes it's your soul pushing you to rebuild your iman with truth, not imitation. Most of us inherit Islam emotionally, but at some point, emotion isn't enough. We must intellectually rediscover Allah, or we risk losing Him to the noise of the modern world. What if I told you the Qur'an directly addresses internal conflict and not just outward disbelief? Nay, but man will be a witness against himself, even though he puts up excuses. Surah Al-Qiyamah, Surah 75, verses 14 to 15. Here, Allah exposes a truth. Deep down, you already know what's right, but you battle with excuses, desires, and doubts. That internal atheist isn't always about logic. It's often about avoiding surrender. Because believing in Allah means changing your life, your ego, your comfort. So the real question is, do you disbelieve, or do you just resist surrendering? The Qur'an also warns us about an invisible force that whispers within, who whispers in the hearts of mankind, from among jinn and men. Surah An-Nas, Surah 114, verses 5 to 6. This waswasa, whispers, isn't loud. It's subtle. It disguises itself as your own thoughts. Is this really true? What if there's no day of judgment? Why do bad things happen if God is real? And if you're unaware, you start thinking those thoughts are you. But the Qur'an is exposing them as external whispers disguised as internal logic. Recognizing this is the first step to taking control of your mind. In the modern world, doubt rarely comes from science or philosophy. It comes from something deeper. The fear of being different, the need to fit in, the confusion of identity. They know only the outward appearance of the worldly life, but they are heedless of the hereafter. Surah Ar-Rum, Surah 30, verse 7. People around you may appear confident, progressive, liberated, and Islam may feel restrictive or outdated. So the atheist within says, why follow something that makes life harder? But that's not doubt. That's discomfort with being morally grounded in a world that celebrates rebellion. You're not rejecting truth. You're just tired of being alone in it. So what can you do? 1. Recognize the pattern. You're not the first to feel this. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was commanded by Allah to challenge the doubters. And if you are in doubt about what we have sent down to our servant, then produce a chapter like it. Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 2, verse 23. The Qur'an doesn't silence doubt, it challenges it. 2. Stop seeking certainty from the outside. You're looking for Allah in science, in proofs, in debates. But He says, I am closer to Him than His jugular vein. Surah Qaf, Surah 50, verse 16. He is not far. He is not silent. You just have to stop tuning Him out with distractions and start tuning your heart back in. 3. Return to the Qur'an, not for judgment, but for awakening. This is a book we have revealed to you, full of blessings, so that they may reflect on its verses and that those with understanding may take heed. Surah Sad, Surah 38, verse 29. Maybe your doubt is not the end of belief. Maybe it's the beginning of real belief. Because the greatest iman is not the one that never questioned. It's the one that questioned, broke, cried, fought, and still returned. Whoever turns away from my remembrance, and for him is a life of hardship. Surah Taha, Surah 20, verse 124. The atheist within promises comfort without God. But the result is always restlessness. Don't run from doubt. Face it, speak to it, uncover its root. Because underneath it might be a believer who is finally ready to know Allah not by inheritance, but by experience. This is the divine paradox. Even your moments of distance can bring you closest to the truth.